Welcome back to the Tidarium Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with a 5,000 subscriber special. I want to say thank you to all the viewers for, of course, liking, subscribing, and all of that fun stuff. But also, I want to say, really, thank you for helping shape the channel because of all the feedback that I've gotten. I have actually done different things, gone in different directions, and I wouldn't have just done that on my own. I would have just come up and said, hey, this is what I want to do. But having all the feedback is really what's helped. So today I'm actually going to go over some more collections, and I do want to admit I'm not really super into any other forms of social media such as Twitter or any of that kind of stuff. I probably should be, but I'm not in on Instagram or all that. Yeah, that's like the next suggestion. I am sort of in on Facebook, but I'm not as good with messing with checking Facebook as often as I probably should, and I'm trying to get better at that. One more goal for like the 6,000 is, of course, check my Facebook a little bit more. And another goal is the transformations. I really want to make them better. I've been working on it, but just kind of looking at how I can make those better and smoother and easier and probably more helpful, because I think that's the most important part about that. But anyway, let's get into these viewer collections, and if you don't see yours in here, I apologize, but I'm going to make a new thread or post or whatever to start working towards the 6,000, because, you know, I'll probably do that one in late February, early March. So thank you, and let's get right into these viewer collections. Alright, so we're going to start with Garrett's collection. So Garrett has a very nice G1 collection, and I have to say that I have a big love for the actual G1 figures, and there's just something about it when somebody can showcase a G1 collection of old school G1 figures in a very nice way. It feels good. So in here we see some box figures in the back. We've got like a 6-shot, a Devastator, Prime. My favorite, of course, is Jetfire out of all of them, and then we've got a Boxed Omega Supreme, which I don't ever remember seeing a Boxed Omega Supreme ever in real life, so that box is so much bigger than I kind of expected it to be, so that's pretty cool. And then some loose ones in the front and all of that looks great, just lined up, looking good, looking straight, very organized and neat. Now here's another picture, and it's the same shelf, and I'm thinking like, hey, let's just display a few different figures on this shelf, rearrange it just a little bit. So maybe this is what it used to be, and then the other one is what it is now. That's kind of what I'm feeling, because this is what it was, and then the first picture is the now. That's always cool to see progression of your shelves over time. I did a video about that too. Now this shelf here looks very neat. Garrett's got it all spaced out, lined out, utilizing some empty space. At the top we've got some monster bots, and then we've got the Point Blank figure up there, which is really, really cool. Then next down below, we've got the Insecticons. And with the Insecticons, the deluxe Insecticons are in there too. So that is definitely a nice looking little shelf that's going on. And then going down below that, we've got a couple of the Monster Bots, and that's always fun. I mean, those Monster Bots and the Headmasters. I got a kick out of trying to collect some of the G1 Headmasters myself, and so I have a big appreciation for people who actually have all of the actual heads on them, because those are so hard to get. And then down below, looking like a combined set of Predaking, and then in the individual bot modes, and of course the Power Master Prime. So really cool little display here. Next up, we got Garrett has this glass case with all these G1s in it, and of course loving the G1 with the Scorponok and a lot of the Decepticons in here. So this is just a very Decepticon heavy shelf. So it's looking like these are the Decepticons, and the Autobots were on that other shelf, on the top shelf there. So split up by faction. So definitely looking good in here. Lots of great figures, and I like these Decepticons. There's something about bad guys that I like. So this is a picture of Garrett's shelf, but it's kind of zoomed out. So we had a closer up picture of this glass case, and then this is zoomed back out, kind of showing what I have been talking about a bit in the past. When you talk about collecting more than just one thing, I mean, obviously people who collect Transformers, some people are super die-hard, only collect Transformers, and others get a couple things from different lines and different toy lines, such as Voltron, which is really close to a Transformer franchise in kind of the grand collecting scheme, down with some, is that Gundam, and then I see some GoBots up to the top left there in that shelf. I think those are GoBots. Trying to zoom in on that, but definitely, I really like seeing your collection. Thanks for submitting it, Garrett. Next up, we have Jay's Masterpiece collection, and a lot of cool things I see in Jay's collection here. And the first thing I want to talk about is how we see at the top big combiners and Omega and kind of larger figures, and it's kind of cool because when you have the bigger figures next to each other and with each other, you can kind of see how they scale well together. And then moving over here to the right, on the top shelf on the right, we have some Autobots, and looking like more or less, well, I would say season 1 and 2, but then you go down below and of course you have more of the season 1 and 2 characters and cast, so set up by faction here also. And then below that you have some of the Decepticons. So I want to point out something else now at the bottom, set up with a bunch of big figures, and moving into more of the glass, which I love glass. I just think glass looks very elegant when you display, but this is the kind of combination of glass along with the shelf, and then the lighting. I like the lights in here, and just making sure you light your display makes you, well, you can enjoy it so much more. It's really hard to just flip the light on and get into the crevices and of shelves, and you get to see all the figures in there. It ends up casting shadows and being dark. So definitely really good with the lighting. Excellent collection here. Jay has submitted some of his really outstanding statue collection he has going on here, with all kinds of different statues from all kinds of different era here. We have Batman, Superman in the back. You've got, of course, the Marvel with Iron Man and Captain America. And, well, first of all, I'm not into the statues so much, so I don't know the prices of them, but I can say that they're very nice looking statues, especially the Storm Shadow Snake Eyes back there. I know this is definitely a pretty penny on some shelf, and I see why it costs so much, because it definitely looks so nice. Here we are with some Street Fighter, and just look at all the detail on these statues. Just, it's kind of definitely highly detailed, highly painted, looking like they're real life. And I'm not sure how to say what the scale of these statues are, because they all look like they're in the same scale. So yeah, there's more great looking statues here. And then these look nice also. Just, that's a lot of statues. That's a lot of statues, and they look good. And I think they're well displayed. See, it's when you do statue displaying, I'm sure it's a little bit different than displaying action figures, because like action figures, you pose them. These are in their pose, so they're not going to get reposed, and you're just going to have to space them properly to give them the space that they deserve, especially for the price point that they are. Definitely outstanding collection of Masterpiece and statues. Jay, thanks for submitting these. So looking at Matt's collection here, this is a lot of G1 figures, and we've got figures like the Armada Unicron, and that's the first real Unicron we got, and we knew that was Unicron. Fits in well with the Chug scale and with the G1 in a way. So looking at this, we've got a Voltron in there. Great looking. I just love seeing G1 whenever I can get a shot at looking at some G1 stuff. It's outstanding. We got a Scorponok over here, some combiners. So we got some big figures, some combiners, definitely looking really good on this shelf. And over to the right with the Omega Supreme and the Metroplex and Skylynx, just definitely looks nice right here. Here's some more G1 stuff from Matt's collection, and the cool thing is big figures in the back, shorter figures in front of them, and then mini bots in front of that, so you can see every single figure. Didn't really have to use levels to level them up, just went with size. You know, kind of like if you're doing a family portrait, you want to tall people in the back and then short people in the front. Works out really well in this situation. Very neat, very organized, very beautiful, and very nostalgic. Decepticon's done the same way. Lots of Seekers in there, and I don't know about you, I got a lot of those G1 Seekers missing parts. It's nice to see them having all their parts on them. They do look so much better, display so much better when they have all their little parts and pieces on them. Definitely nice looking Decepticon display. So I got Matthew's collection of Masterpiece right here, and so I'm going to start here. We have the Titan Returns Trypticon at the top of this, and moving in to several different setups here with these. Now, these aren't exactly D-Tops, I don't think. I think these are something different, but still, whatever. The glass shelves look nice. They look elegant. I like it. So we've got a nice mixture here of Masterpiece and Mainline. And see, it's something that I've done in the past and something that can still be done today. There are figures that you can put your Masterpiece, mix them with some of maybe the Leader class figures, or maybe some of the, even the Voyagers. So Mainline is getting so good, they can make a nice display, and you can mix them in with your Masterpiece and look good. I think this looks great. Set up in here, going down, I think we've got a combiner over here, and then in the middle we have a shelf with some Fembots on it, and even lower we got more combiners, and at the bottom we've got some big figures. And the big figures, looking through here, we do see on the right side Jetfire. That Skyfire Jetfire was just actually a great figure, it really was. And then on the left side, I think that there's Generation Toy Devastator, and it's nice to have some options for Devastator, and you know, you gotta have that guy. He looks good. And then looking up above the Skyfire Jetfire, we have a nice shelf full of some Masterpiece stuff in here, and then to the left of that, combiners. Is that Overlord there? So yeah, definitely nice looking little display here we have going on. I think very neat, very clean, very nice. Thank you for submitting your collection. Keep it going. So we got Sam's collection, and so this is actually, I think, an old setup, and it's been moved. I think that's what was told to me, but it's still really cool the way it's set up. We're going to start here on the left of this picture here, and we have some glass cases with some figures in. On the bottom we see a few different types of Optimus Primes, and then on the other case I see the Fans Toys Quake Wave and some other Decepticons. So it looks like we've got a collection of Primes, a collection of Starscreams, a collection of specific characters here, which looks really good. Nice storage for some boxes. Then further over we have what's looks to be the main setup of display. So like that first picture was extras, and then looking into this looks really good. I like the way it's kind of rounded in the display. How that was done, I'm not 100% sure, but that does look kind of cool, the way it's kind of rounded off. Maybe that's an effect from that camera angle too, but it looks great. I like the lighting in there. I like the backgrounds that we see. I like the fact that, you know, like the Decepticons are in on the Decepticon purple, and then the Autobots are in on the Autobot with the art colors, and it's alternated per shelf, which is something interesting. I really like that too. That's pretty awesome. And then of course to the right we're back to looks like some more of the Prime collection kind of shelves, which is really cool. And possibly the same thing going on with Galvatron. And if you look at the top right there, you can see some Quintesson shelf, which is awesome. So you kind of got Quintessons, you got some Sharkticons and all that great stuff. And then moving way over to the right here, we got some good old G1. Like, you got to have it. And this, okay, this is displayed in alt mode. So you see the majority of people display the majority of everything in bot mode. But these G1s are in alt mode. Now, I display the majority of my G1 in alt mode simply because it takes up less space. And I was just trying to make it all fit in a certain area. And I was like, hey, it's got to go alt mode. And I did it. And so I can see that. But this definitely looks cool. I appreciate the alt modes of G1 a lot, because I think in G1 they were going for the more realistic and accurate alt mode than in the bot mode. So all these pictures came as kind of panoramic view pictures, which I think is cool. It's really hard to get the full scope of someone's collection in just one small picture. So I don't exactly know how these panoramic pictures were taken like this, but it's really cool. So you can see off to the left, we have some Transformers in here. We have Unicron as the planet. We have what Fans Toys, I think that's the Fans Toys Omega. and a lot of great Transformers in this Transformers room. Then up above that, looks like we got some Marvel going on, and then next to that we've got, well, quite a few things with Godzilla and a GoBot and a mixture. It goes back to my theory that majority of collectors collect more than just one thing, or even if they do only collect one thing, it's still fun to pick up a couple of other things along the way. Looking above the door, we got a nice Turtles collection here. Looks like some, is it NECA Turtles going on maybe, or not? I said I'm not 100% up on that, but those do look cool, and I know NECA's coming out with some. And then Ghostbusters, and then to the right, some more excellent looking Masterpiece Transformers, just looking great over there, and that's a nice display. I like that wall setup and that kind of the black stuff on the wall, the plastic, I think those are plastic, those building pieces for the wall. Anyway, very nice display setup there. And here are some more of the scenes that Sam has set up here. So this is the Autobots in their arc, and so looking at this, you can see Wheeljack, a bunch of the Masterpiece, actual official Masterpiece, all through there on both sides. And then some third party mixed in and peppered in just to dial out all the characters. Looking really good, and this goes to show how these real world scenes can enhance your display so much. And here's another display, which looks like it's spread out over the course of several cabinets here to look like one continuous display. I think that's how this was accomplished. Looks really good, and I like this kind of stuff where it's continual all the way across. And that's another thing you can do. Let's say you've got 4 DTOFs or something, then you can have the whole top shelf look like one big shelf. If that's how this was accomplished, I don't know if that's exactly how it was accomplished, because I don't see the dividing in the middle. But anyway, it still looks really cool the way this was done. Here's another angle of just the Decepticon shelf, and I like the way that's done too. It's also different. It's just not all the same. And it is kind of cool how, like, this section in this shelf's done this way, another section the shelf's done a different way. It's just different ways to represent your collection. But Sam, thanks for sharing. That was a great collection. This is Soundwave's collection, and it looks great. I think it's Roy, and Roy had some really cool setup going on. Now, these are 3 different Megatrons, all posed differently on a shelf. Let me give you a shot of it all. Now, this is a little bit fuzzy. It was kind of hard. I think I captured this from video. Capturing it from video is the hardest, but I do like this setup, and the reason it's going to go kind of from this angle to straight on pictures. So, want to point out here how you have the Masterpiece Transformers all in the glass shelving and looking really good. On top of it, we see maybe some Star Wars figures, and then shelf to the left, we see all kinds of different Star Wars Black Series, Vintage Collection, Vintage itself, nice looking display. And there's some Joe stuff working in there, so showing the variety of collecting going on. I like to see that. And I like to show that this is nicely displayed. Alright, so here we go with an Autobot shelf. So this is what we were just looking at, of course, more shelves broken down. And what I like about this is there's space. It's like they're not cram jammed in there. They're spaced out. And I think that's what I struggle with the most in my collection, is giving that free space to look nice like this one. Of course, here we go with another Autobot. I like that Autobot symbol in the middle of it. It's kind of like we're in our domain, and this is our Autobot symbol. Looks good with the red Bumblebee. Got some Decepticon action going on here with 2 different versions of Soundwave, and that kind of looks like the Plus. Is this a Plus Soundwave? Yep, it's a Plus Soundwave. I mean, Shockwave, and Soundwave's in there too. So yeah, I haven't actually handled or seen really much about the Plus. Looks good. Now we've got the beginning of a Fans Toys Menasor going on. We got some Fans Toys Bugbots here, looking good, nice looking shelf. And this here looks good. We've got the Hydra stomping on an MP10 and kicking them down. And look at that cool looking lit up Decepticon symbol back there. That just looks awesome. Here are the Make Toys Seekers, and Wow, they do shine, don't they? They pop, they shine. That's a nice looking set. Uh, that set is it looks nice. I just reviewed one of those, the Conehead, and I think the first three kind of knocked it out of the park. Here we are with Fans Toys movie bots, and these movie bots look good. I gotta admit, Fans Toys knows how to paint a figure. They know how to make it look good, and of course that's X-Transbots. Andrus, is it Andrus up there? I bet Fans Toys will eventually get their own Scourge out, but till then, that's the best one out, and the only one out. So here's another angle of the Masterpiece Collection, just kind of seeing how it's set up. There is space between the cabinets, probably because when you put it all together, and if you stick them all together, there's not a room for another one, so evenly spacing them out just to make it look right is probably why that was done that way. And let's see a few other things here. We have a Black Series shelf, kind of a zoom in on that. This is some Black Series figures of Star Wars, and just I like it. My son really likes Black Series too. It's just coming a long way. Here's some good old-fashioned G1 figures. Yep, there they are. It's a nice looking shot. He has a lot more. I wasn't able to get as many shots. I just picked the cleanest shots I could for this. Here are some boxed G1 items, and you know, it's definitely fun. And this kind of reminds me of what I do. I have a few of my favorites boxed also, and so that's always kind of a fun thing to do, is to be able to pick some of those up. I like the mask vehicles up there too. Here's that Joe display going on, and it's really cool to have this little playset set up and then have some of the figures. And I have to say, I can feel the same way. Have a little scene set up. It's not a complete collection of Joe, but it's enough to represent G.I. Joe and some of your favorite figures up there. And you know, it's nice to be able to collect something and just have a little bit of it to mix into your collection. Right, it's definitely a great collection. Thanks for submitting it. Anyway, if you guys have your collections, you want to be in the 6,000 subscriber special, I'm going to be putting up a separate post on Facebook soon, and so just submit yours to that. I'm just not really the best with the social medias out there, and somehow some of the messages I got just kind of got lost in Facebook for a while. I don't know why or how, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed these collections. Like, subscribe, and Tidarium Hanger out.